Good evening, everybody. This is Steve Harris with Fecto Studios, HarrisFilm Productions. On our first podcast, bear with us. We're having a couple of technical difficulties here and there. Our host will be Mike Locklear when he joins us. We're also expecting to see Zamir Patois, who will play our computer on Mud's Planet in an upcoming film. He's also in a crossover film that we're doing with another production as Tucker Limbaugh. You might remember that name from some other films that are done in the Minard universe. So, hello there, Admiral Roy.
Hello.
Admiral Roy here. I call him that.
How we doing, Roy? Good to see you.
Admiral Roy is Roy Ivy. He plays, say their name properly so I don't butcher it, Admiral
Vandenboss. Created
Vandenboss.
Vandenboss. You may know him from the Constar Chronicles. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I originated.
Yes. And roughly how many films do you think you've appeared in as that character already?
I think it's about 18. I'd have to go back and count. But yes. It's been lots of fun. I see we got somebody in engineering.
Wow.
That's excellent.
And you'll have one.
Oops.
So sorry, everyone.
That's okay. It's okay. Oh, I'm back.
No biggie.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, welcome. Good to see you again.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Introduce yourself.
I am Majo Rage. I am going to be playing the Klingon commander in our upcoming films. I'm also usually hosting on NerdTube. If you want to catch anything around over there, we'll probably end up throwing a link somewhere in the description, right, Harry? Especially since Zam's going to be joining us, correct?
Hopefully.
Excellent.
Considering the vagrancies of international time.
It is rather late over there.
Yep, I think Zam's going to have to be the first person on the floor just due to his time frame. We don't want him to be up till, all hours of the night, even though it's a weekend. And
that's right.
He's prepared all his life to be awake all night for these kinds of things. That's okay.
As soon as he pops in. I'm having some technical difficulties. Hopefully it's not interfering with the broadcast, but you may see me pop in and out.
Little frozen once in a while, but your audio's coming through, so you're good.
Okay.
Oh, good. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, excellent. I'll just get my notes up.
What's your question?
No question. I was just going to, since we're waiting on Zam, I figured maybe we can start with Mr. Ivy. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Excellent. I'm speaking to you from a secure location.
Well, it is a pleasure to have you on. We're so grateful that you're here tonight, and we're so grateful with your involvement in the projects. You are a heavy hitter in the fan film industry. No, in all seriousness, I mean, I've seen you a lot of places. You do a lot of work, good work, and so we're very grateful to have you on board. I was wanting to talk a little bit tonight maybe about what sort of role you're taking as an advisor on our project, and kind of like give us a little bit of thoughts about where you think the project's going.
Oh, well, it's very exciting. These guys are are well motivated and they're wanting to go out there and create something. I'm always looking for my next gig, and I saw something from Harry out on the internet. He wanted somebody to join with him and guest star and whatever else, and I'm always game for that. And I got a chance to get involved with them, and this is interesting because I'm on the ground floor, whatever else. I came into the Van den Bosch character that was already created for me, and in this case, I'm still going to be Van den Bosch, but I'm helping create the surrounding universe as well. So that's a change for me, or whatever else. And I've been around, as you say, in this business for a while, so I've seen how others have done it, and I've also been involved in acting and other projects, and I'm just helping them with whatever I can with in regard to that, and some things works and some things don't. But what I always think is you proceed from a point of knowledge, and once you have that knowledge, you can make reasonable choices from that. So I hope that I'm a fountain of knowledge in some areas that they may require. So
You are.
I'm helpful. I'm as helpful as I can in places, and I try to stay out of places that I can't be helpful.
Well, we're all very grateful for your help and involvement in the project. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing what you bring with the Captain Van den Bosch character, and filling out our little universe and getting deep lore created. And I know that everybody working on this project is very excited about the project. And
well, I'm very interested to see your Klingon. I'm
Yes.
very sorry that I won't get to see you have a scene with Steve Atwell. It's someone else that
Amen.
we certainly wanted to be involved in this project. It was something that excited me when I first joined, that I might have a chance to play off against the great Steve Atwell, our wonderful Klingon, who has been in many episodes of the Constar as well. And it always brightened my day if I ever heard that battle cry come from Steve, when he was about ready to go into battle. So I'm very sorry to see that he's went on to Stobercore, and I don't know what else to say about that, but I think we should recognize he certainly in spirit is a part of this project, and I just wish we could have worked it out.
Yeah. So about Mr. Atwell, I found out about that today. Just a couple words. I didn't know him personally. I did know that he played an excellent, incredible Klingon. I know that the man is absolutely a wizard with words. He can write, very creative. He was always polite. He was nice. I know he was having some health issues for a long time. Contact kind of got broke with some projects we were on due to that and some other stuff. But the short time that I did speak with and know Mr. Atwell, he was a very respectable man, very intelligent. Like I said, incredible writer too, very creative. So, yeah.
No, it's a sad day indeed for the community.
Yeah, was not pleased to see that at all whatsoever. That was like, whoa.
I had prepared a memorial video for him, and I'm having trouble actually displaying it. So I will upload that on our channel after the broadcast. I apologize for that. But he was actually very enthusiastic with our project when we first talked about it. And to backtrack a little bit, the original project is now called Captain Roth's Xenocian Encounter. And I approached Steve about being the Klingon commander. I said, it's a simple thing. It's right now we're in development, and if I have a good photo of you in a Klingon environment, like on the bridge, especially if you've got a Klingon bridge photo somewhere, then that'd be fantastic. You don't even have to appear in video. You can just pop up on the screen on your photo. And Jeff doctored one that he sent us. It looks fantastic. And I put that in the memorial. So, but yeah. he was pretty excited about that for a while. And then he moved. He had to go to a different place from one town to another. And that totally upset his life. And by the time he got settled again, things just deteriorated too quickly to have him actually participate. So it's a loss to all of us. And nothing personal against Major Rage, but he had a different perspective and a different vibe, a definite TOS era Klingon vibe to the environment. So farewell, Steve. Joining our chat room right now is our mysterious Mr. Dillon. George Dillon is played by none other than Matt Arnold.
That's right.
So, how you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing all right. Just having a pretty busy day.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Matt, good of you to join us. Mr. Dillon is the mysterious savior conducting the mission to save Captain Roth in the series. Oh yeah, he's the mysterious one of the series, which his character will be elaborated on in the future. So
yeah, and everybody wants
more than one film.
Oh yeah,
the radio equipment in the back room, right here, is not a backdrop. It's real equipment, amateur radio. I've been a ham radio operator over 30 years.
However, the engineering background you see behind me is real. Just got done feeding the squirrels, keeping the lights on around here. I'm trying, guys. They gave me a 5-minute break, so that's all I got.
Yes, and it looks like that's one of famous Gregory M. Chin renders, or it's a photo of the actual set. I can never tell the difference, and he laughs at me when I tell him that. But that actually looks like one of Greg's. I could tell, I think, by the shininess there on the...
Yeah, it says Unreal 4 engine, so yeah.
That's definitely
phenomenal.
Chin.
That's probably him.
Yep.
So yeah, Mr. Chin, our technical advisor. Boy, the man he's one of the hidden gems behind the curtain, so to say. His renders and how he constructs this stuff as far as the background, so it's absolutely immaculate. Very, very talented individual. So we are very grateful to have Mr. Chin behind the scenes doing some heavy lifting with the computer work there. So he's a master at his craft. So,
and he also advises me on any technical issues in the script. If I've used the wrong technobabble or the wrong designation on a part, he knows exactly what to call it, what it does, how long it'll take for the dilithium crystals to recrystallize, or whatever the situation is. And he has built the entire USS Enterprise or Constitution class ship in a computer so that he can go to any part of the ship, inside or out, and render that. And that it's when he does a video and you see the engine moving, I'm hoping that that's going to be part of one of our videos in the near future. So he's already sent a lot of photographs, still picture renders that he's allowed us to use. And it's very, very helpful to have a realistic background that we can merge into, because guess what, everybody? I'm not in Hollywood, and nobody here in this chat room is in the same location at all. We're all in different places. We all use green screen. In Roy's case, he uses real backgrounds. He doesn't have it. He has his own partial set there.
yeah.
But almost everybody else is using green screen.
I think the closest any of us are is between you and Matt, Steve, and myself and Roy. And I think Roy and I take the cake as far as down the road, so to say.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, we utilize the
Chris
green
is
screen
in
stuff
Florida.
a lot, so that's
I'm about 100 miles from Steve.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm in the central Alabama area. Everybody calls it Birmingham. That's not exactly where I am, but I'm in that area.
He's the outskirts
Matt's-
of Birmingham.
Yeah, I'm about
Right.
20 minutes outside of St. Louis across the river on the Illinois side, not Chicago area far from.
And right down the road from Roy.
Yep, Mr. Roy is on the other side of the river. So once we fight off
And
the
Chris
alligators
is
in the
down in
Mississippi, we can
Florida.
visit each other. So
Down in Tampa.
Yeah. So
So-
Chris is in Tampa.
Yeah.
So, Mage, introduce Chris Gunn, and let's hear a little bit about his story.
All right. Chris Gunn is playing Mr. Griffin. He's also our on-location director, our prop manager, and fulfilling a ton of other roles. Just whatever needs to get done, you're on it, right, Chris?
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, my whole life has been devoted to audiovisual, one way or the other. When I was a kid, I used to do stuff like this all the time. I had a camcorder. I would go out in my garage and just make stuff. I would act. I would do everything, and it would end up on a tape. Nobody would ever see it. But years later, I got onto something called public access cable. So I started doing that for years. So I would edit tapes, do skits. I had a show actually called Truckin' down here. It wasn't Trekkin', it was Truckin'. And I had like a truck with a smoke would come out of it with a fog machine, kind of like Cheech and Chong. And I had all these skits that would intertwine with a truck driving around. It was pretty funny. So anyway, years later, I get onto YouTube and I'm like, gosh, I wish I had this when I was a kid. You know, when I got busy being a dad and all that stuff. And never really got too into it. Then I meet you guys, decided to put myself out there. I'm getting to be a little bit of an empty nester now. And I'm seeing all this kinds of stuff now people are doing online. It's amazing. Everything that is going on. I see fan film here, Doctor Who fan film there. Somebody did their own, kind of movie. It's incredible. But yeah, I am the jack of all trades. I will do anything and everything. You put me in there, coach, I'll take care of it. Definitely enthusiastic.
And that's true.
A lot of fun being back with people that are into this stuff. Because, like I was saying, I never had people to hang out with when I did this stuff. It wasn't a meetup.com or anything else like that. It was just a phenomenal new experience for me. So.
We're glad to have you on the project. Glad to see you bringing, all your previous audio-visual experience to our project, and very grateful for your involvement, boss. Glad to have you out of semi-retirement, as it were.
Big in England or Japan, sorry. Yeah, definitely. Thank
Big
you.
in Japan.
Yeah.
All right. Harry, I would like
Yes.
to ask a question of you. You're on the title. You're Harris Studio Film Productions. You're co-producer of the project.
Yes.
What is the overall vision for the Captain Roth project? And past that, what kind of gap in the current Trek fan film market do you think that we could kind of fill? What could we bring to the picture that nobody else is bringing yet?
Okay. The overall idea is, like you said, you were asking what can we do to fill the gap of the fans, and that is the overall idea. There are a group of people like Matt, Roy, and myself who are a certain age. We actually grew up watching the original series as it was broadcast. We didn't have DVRs or VCRs or anything like that. Some lucky people had film. They actually bought the film episodes and were able to watch them when they wanted to. But we memorized the scripts the first time we saw them. And we read the books when they came out. We enjoyed the novelizations by James Blish, which was based on original scripts Some of them were quite different from what actually appeared on screen, and it gave you a better in-depth knowledge of the original idea of that story. So what we're trying to do is fill the gap between what is being shown on TV and what we missed. What do I mean by that? Well, Captain Roth's final message actually starts at a star date right after Harry Mudd was left on Mudd's planet. So we're actually in season 2 of TOS era right now. But we're heading towards what would have become phase 2, the TV series that never actually occurred. That's one reason I have a slightly different uniform on. And I'm still wearing an original era insignia.
Harry's froze for a moment. He should be back any second now.
Yeah, if he's got a little.
Sorry.
There he is.
There you go. Wires. So I'm playing Commander Stahl, and in the original script that we worked on, that's actually in the storyline, is going to be about 5 films later. I was going to be the main engineer on board a new ship called the USS Krytek. For the storyline, we're not filming in order, and so there's a problem with what's actually shown on YouTube right now and what we have been working on for almost a year. Actually, Jeff's been more involved in that for a longer time than I have. He was one of the original writers of the Xenoshin Encounter. So I came on board as the engineer for the Krytek, and we had a bunch of other people working on the project at the time, including Josh Elms and some other people. And we had people come and go. People tried out and didn't make it. And what do I mean by that? We asked for volunteers, okay? If you don't have a green screen, we have a problem. If you don't have the lighting, we have a problem. So I can't buy everybody a costume. I have no money either. So if you have a costume, or if you want something like I'm wearing, I can get you a good deal on that. And we go from there, you know, but don't buy your costume if you don't have it. Okay. Try out first. Do the green screen test. Let's see how you do. I want to hear your voice. I want to see what you look like. I want you to do a set of lines that I'll email you. So I don't know if that answers all your questions or not, but we've got a series of films that we're working on. And we were very fortunate after our first film appeared on YouTube. We got a lot of attention from other filmmakers, including Vance Major and Frank. Help me out. My brain's broke.
Frank Parker Jr. of
Parker Jr.
No Budget Productions and Filk Ferret Studios, respectively.
So there you go.
Great.
And they offered to help us out with the next set of projects. And Vance wrote 4 stories that we're in the process of filming. Frank and Vance already filmed their parts. Everything's in the can on their side. We also have Zam, who lives in London, who filmed a part that's in the very last film, or the next to the last film. And all of that I'm hoping to incorporate within the Captain Roth series, even though they're crossovers. What do I mean by crossover? Well, it means that Vance's character and Frank's character is going to be in there. It means elements from Constar Universe is going to be in these films. Elements from Gemini, Project Gemini, is going to be on our film. So those characters are intertwined within that particular series of 4 films that we're working on right now. And we're all volunteers, so it's taken us a little more time than I expected, but we're almost through with film number 1. We've made significant progress on film number 3, and film number 2 is about 2/3 done from the filming standpoint. So I don't know. Did that answer your question? We want to fill a gap that fans our age would have expected to see on the screen as Star Trek TOS spun off into a new era towards Phase 2. So think of us as trying. We're not Star Trek, okay? We're not claiming to be Star Trek. Star Trek is wholly owned by CBS and Paramount. We're not using Star Trek characters. You know, we're creating our own little universe within the Star Trek era of TOS, TNG. I'm sorry, TOS, the animated series, and Phase 2. So, does that help?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that gives our audience, kind of context of, what sort of stories we're going to be bringing. And I feel that, it's a good thing that you've decided to, look at a, time period and that not a ton of younger fans are as familiar with. I, for one, wasn't familiar with Phase 2 at all until you reached out to me about the project. And I've done some research since then and, tried to pay attention to what you've been saying. And so I'm excited that we're going to be telling stories maybe in a time period that hasn't been explored on screen as much.
At least a region. What we're basically doing is visiting some of the places that you might be familiar with, but it's different encounters, like Mud's Planet. You expect everything to just be hunky-dory with Mr. Mudd there with his androids, right? Well, no. Those androids were torturing him. Remember? When Enterprise left, he had a nagging wife. What was it, 4,000 of them instead of one, chasing him around the planet. So what happened after that? And that story that we're working on now is actually based on what the original author, Stephen Kandel, wrote back in 1967. There was going to be a spin-off series. And when that didn't happen, that story was shelved. And the animated series took over. When the animated series came, they did one other episode, and it was totally different from what he had planned. It was going to be an episode in the new series that never happened. So what happened on Mud's Planet and how he got away was never actually explored, and we hope to do that in the near future. So, Jeff, tell us about some of the things you've been involved with all of our productions. He's been one of our main editors. His music, he's creating brand new music, special effects.
So basically, I work more behind the curtain than I do on screen. So the Final Message film, that was my first dabble with any type of film editing, so to say. So it took a lot longer than probably expected to get that film edited. It took us 3 weeks start to finish. The whole film was written in 20 minutes, and it took us 3 weeks to actually stitch everything together properly with lots of help from Mr. Roy. Thank you.
Yes.
And as far as all the audio and stuff like the sound design and audio and all that, that's all me. It's all original. So we're trying. A lot of people in the films like to stick with the traditional sounds of Star Trek. So what I'm wanting and hoping to do is to pioneer newer sounds, more 21st century sounds. Just make it as unique as possible, anything audio related. That's my goal. So original soundtrack, original score, and as many original sound effects as possible that we can design and place in there. So that's kind of my job, trying to make everything unique, but still have a Star Trek flavor, so to say.
That's exciting stuff,
Yeah.
Branching out and filling in, doing something different and filling in gaps that, aren't getting filled by other products. I really enjoyed.
I wanted to introduce. Sorry, I wanted to introduce you to one of our special effects guys, and he's unavailable because Kenneth Mays actually lives out in the middle of nowhere, and he has HughesNet for his internet provider. So he's unable to actually join live. But this is just one short example of the type of special effects that he's been able to provide for us, that he was what I wanted. I was describing it. He's a very talented individual, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knows he was one of our main VFX guys. In the upcoming projects, we're also working with Vance and Frank's group, so some of the special effects will be provided by their group, and I'm not sure of all of the people involved. I'm hoping Joey Benoit will be one of the main guys, because in fact we need help getting the Crytek constructed. I've described what it is. I've given a model, a 3D model for a Blender type CGI to the group, and I haven't heard anything back yet. But these things take time, people, and everybody's volunteering. So try to be a little patient with us. We're working behind the scenes, getting a couple of short things together that will be not necessarily Captain Roth related specifically. It won't be an episode of Captain Roth, but it'll be background information or bloopers or, different projects. In fact, Chris Gunn tried out for, remember what was it called? Spawn of Svengoolie, was it? Chris?
Yeah,
He's muted.
Yes,
there
sorry.
you go.
That was a lot of fun.
So-
That was the stuff I used to do, like on a public access, all that kind of stuff. That was very in that vein of TV stuff.
So if you missed it on Svengoolie, they showed it a couple of weeks ago during the Ghost and Mr. Chicken. And if you missed it, we have the full version on our channel on YouTube. Just look for Spawn of Svengoolie. It's Chris Gunn. So what else you got there, Major Rage?
So, Mr. Arnold, on top of playing Captain Dylan, you're one of the co-writers.
Yep. The day when we sat down and started writing on Roth's things that start popping in our heads, and we said, hey, why don't we just do this and just add certain things to it, and then I decided to go ahead and add my character in right at the end of it, just which I originally wasn't going to do anything with it, but it was a last minute thing. I said, heck, we just throw a surprise in there and go from there. And so I did help write a little bit of the original script with the encounter.
Yep.
I did help with that, and there's a lot of it that I helped wrote with that between Steve, Jeff, me, and originally Jim had a little part into it and in the original script, and I will give him credit for that. Jim's landscape used to be Commodore Boone. I will give him credit for that. He did help in some part of it of the original script, but I did help a lot in the writing and stuff.
Sounds like a truly collaborative process, kind of everybody bringing in kind of their own perspective and combining it into what's going to be some great products.
Thank you for that. It's not that easy. He gets started, and he talks so fast. You wouldn't think with that Southern accent that he could speak so fast. But I have to record him
like that.
Exactly, and
stuff. Just right out of the blue, I could come up with something. If I had the camera equipment the blue screen, the big screens, and all the equipment to do it, and the bridge and everything, I could probably film something and be done with it. But you know, when you're limited income, it's kind of hard to do anything.
Yeah.
So here's the beauty of Matt. He's another one of the little hidden people behind the curtain most of the time when it comes to ideas. Matt's
Right.
okay. So here's the thing with Final Message. When I started, so Steve and I, it was like 3:00 in the morning. We're just BSing here on StreamYard, and they're like, you know what? We have got to answer some questions in a timeline that's got holes in it. And we started writing, and I'm thinking as I'm writing, you know, my intro sequences, my mid sequence, and my exiting sequences for that film for my character. I'm thinking about stuff that Matt and I talked about last year, back in May, June, and July, and I'm like, you know what? This is all this stuff that he was talking about, and now it's finally going to get tied into a script, and we're going to bring it to the screen, and it's great. So honestly, Matt is the seasoning to a lot of our script writing with his ideas, because he gives a lot of. So Matt always presents a big bucket of ideas, basically, and it's always on a whim. It's quick and it's on a whim, so you better catch it or you're going to lose it. And the thing is that when we do catch a bunch of it in the bucket, we can sit there and cherry pick all these wonderful little ideas and trickle them in, and it's just great. It's great. So Matt don't think that he has does a whole lot, but in reality, he really does add a lot of depth and flavor to the films in certain aspects. And that whole ending sequence in the Final Message film, Matt took all that right off the top of his head and threw it in there. I mean, it's incredible. It's great. So yeah, it's wonderful. So big
I have
props
to
and kudos
record
to
him
Matt.
and then write it down. It's too much.
Yeah, you
and
can't
I have
do
to
it.
review the
Can't type in that
audio.
fast.
It's like, whoa. Hey, did he say that? No. Oh, wait, did he change that?
But no,
Okay.
Matt is a super,
I see what he's doing.
Yeah, Matt's a super important behind the scenes, person when it comes to adding brand new, fresh ideas and stuff to a script. So, yeah.
Yes.
Matt is of significant importance. We are very grateful.
And we appreciate
You don't
that.
have no audio, bud.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Matt. You're very important, and you're the new mysterious character. You're great. So,
Yeah, Rage lost his audio there. He's
So
trying-
sorry.
there we go.
That's all right.
That's okay. There he is.
No, some of the great sounds like a wonderful collaboration process in the writing chats. And you definitely need the people that sprinkle in kind of the details and, provide things that you can augment the ideas you've already had with. And it helps to have sounding boards and different points of view come together. For my
He's
next
also the glue with the storyline. Like I said, we had started with another film, and the way things have evolved, Final Message became film number 1, and then the crossover films became episode 2 through 6. Okay, so that makes our film that we were working on for a year now, film number 7. Wow. And he ties us in with all of this storyline. I say, hey, did you look at this? And he goes, yeah, but you forgot, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are right. That needs to go in here. And you wouldn't think it, but Matt is actually one of our script editors. And he's very good, along with Roy. Now, Roy is a different perspective altogether. Now, of course, Chris helps too.
Yes.
But Roy's been in the fan film industry for so many years that he has the behind-the-scenes ability, the experience to say, well, is that really Star Trek-like or not? And how Star Trek-like are you going to want to be? And that kind of a thing. And, maybe that's too much film. Maybe you're talking too much. Let's tighten up the edit a little bit.
So that's what it is. So here's the thing. This is where Roy comes into very important play. I mean, vital play. Okay. So we sit there and we write the script and we get things filmed and everything. And then Roy comes in and he watches the rough cut. And Roy's like, and then he's like, you need to cut 2 minutes out of that, cut 30 seconds out of this, cut 10 seconds out of this, and then show me. And
Right.
the thing is, what I'm getting at is that Roy knows what an audience wants to watch. Okay? Roy knows exactly how to keep an audience hooked, and he knows exactly how much of a certain scene, dialogue, or whatever for that particular part of a film to keep the audience engaged. And our original cut of Final Message was 14, 15 minutes, something like that. We showed Roy, and Roy, you know, he was
Right.
helping us behind the scenes. And Roy was like, I'm losing interest in this part. And I'm like, okay, all right. And we tightened everything up. And at first I was like, man, we're missing a lot of dialogue. Now, we fast forward 2 months, and our videos hit almost 4,000 views. Okay? So Roy played a direct part in holding viewer retention and getting that
Yes.
view time in. All because he knows exactly what the audience wants. How long they're
Right.
going to pay attention to certain spots. and
Pacing
certain
is super
topics.
important, absolutely.
He is. He
and-
is. And honestly, it may not sound like a whole lot, those simple recommendations, but Lord Almighty, it is. It's vital.
Yep.
So Roy is
And-
very, very special to all of us.
Film.
What's that, Matt?
Everyone had a little part in this film to make it happen, and that's what you call
Yes.
teamwork.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the
And
things we
you
got
cannot
more.
have that in any, no matter what you do, even in music. Me in fact, we're a lot in the music, and I play the guitar, the piano, and sound and whatever myself. And I'm very picky when it comes to music and what it sounds like. The timing has to be exactly right. Even with your characters, even with the scene changes, you got to have that music change along with the scene at the right moment. And I'm very
Right.
particular and picky about that.
So here's the thing too. That goes into what my job is behind the scenes too at these films. So we're coming out with all these films, and yes, I'm in the films. I do play an acting part, but primarily, I'm trying to take a more cinematic audio score to these films. And my job is actually quite important because I have to set the tone, the mood, the feel, the vibe, etc. through audio. You can watch a scary movie with no jump scares and it's not going to scare you. You add 2 or 3 audio samples to a certain scene and you're going to wet the bed. You know what I mean? It's a terrible
Exactly.
analogy. But the whole thing is, you know, that's my job. I'm trying to think of a newer approach, not a 1980s John Williams sounding approach. I'm not no John Williams or Hans Zimmer. I never will be. I mean, those people are gifted. Let's get that out there right now. But I do have a degree in audio production. Cinematic scoring is rather new to me. However, I do have the foundation elements as far as education goes to sit there and write a score. Now, like what Matt was saying, yes, you do have to cut and chop. You know, you can have 2, 3, 4 minute tracks, and you have to cut and chop certain segments to place them in certain areas to create a certain mood, a certain feel, to create a build up for a scene or whatever else. And it does take effort. So when you are scoring a film, I mean, you can have all these wonderful ideas, and then all of a sudden it's like they mean absolutely nothing. Because all those ideas you just had will not make the next scene make sense. You
Like
know,
with it,
audibly, it will not. And then you have to sit there and go back from scratch, delete everything you just did, and start fresh. So it is challenging, in a sense, to create that feel and mood for the viewer, because what they hear creates, you know, I mean, it all works in tandem. That's the thing. It all works in tandem, and it has to be done right or it's not going to work. And that was one of the biggest things that Steve and I were talking about. Like, this score is so modernized for this film. As far as a Star Trek themed film, it's either going to work or it's going to bomb horribly. And
Right.
so far, it seems to be doing okay. So, and you were mentioning, Mage, that you did enjoy the audio scores. I do appreciate that. That's great. So everything's original. There's no copyright free, downloads. I mean, as far as like pre-made music down. No, I'm creating every single bit of it. So that's all. It's all me. Not to toot my own horn, but
100 times better than the Enterprise theme. I mean, come on. What were they thinking?
And here's my challenge. I'm trying to find certain elements to add that sound and feel like Star Trek,
science fiction,
putting it 21st century. And so I'm already working on the score of our next film in the franchise. Right. As far as the film that comes after Final Message and our own sequence, not the collaboration with Vance, but the ones that we're going to be doing this fall, I'm already starting to work on that. And it is difficult to give it a Star Trek type vibe and stuff. And then, like I was talking with Steve, it's like, you know what? We can put that in there, but we need to have a very fresh approach. Fresh.
Right. Like I said, it's Star Trek-like. It's not Star Trek.
It's flavored.
We're not trying to steal.
That's all it
exactly.
Is.
We're not stealing anything.
It's our own film, and we flavor it with Star Trek in every aspect. And if it turns out to be great, it turns out to be great. And so far, the fact that we have almost we're at 3,900 views and something. I don't know, Steve, you'd be able to get the exact count on that. But apparently what we're doing seems to be working to some extent. And that makes me happy because we're using full imaginative freedom. We're not locked into, we have to watch these episodes and mimic everything. No, none of that garbage. We have full maximum creative freedom. And that is the beauty of it. And that's what makes life easier because it's almost like we can do whatever we want. Right. So long as, we keep continuity with the theme, rules, obviously. But we have maximum creative freedom. And that's wonderful. It makes my job easier and it makes it funner. And the fact that we as a team all work in tandem is it's beautiful.
And one thing about it, I know,
well-oiled machine.
You don't have the original characters. You have to go by the original characters. You don't have to do that. And our characters have been created for these films, and they have their own story for each one of the characters. Captain Dillon. George Dillon is the character that I play, is the great-great-grandfather of Cody Dillon, which played in I Warp Prime on one of Vance Major's film. That's where I decided to come up with a name associate with the timeline of where we're at now.
And your eggs still aren't scrambled.
Eggs are scrambled for sure.
Yeah,
been stuck in the microwave too long.
So
we also have we had some other characters that couldn't show up today, and one of them, of course, is Zam. He lives in London. Some of you people that live in the UK might actually recognize this guy.
Okay.
All right, this is a very rough first rehearsal that I was doing with Christopher Lee Power. Who UK audiences should actually recognize as an actor over there. He actually makes his bread and butter as an actor on TV and film. There's a couple of films that are available on Amazon that he's in.
I do recognize
him. He's a dramatic actor. He has sort of a Liam Neeson look. And don't make fun of the insignia. His wife did that for me to give me an idea of how large it should look and that kind of a thing. We have a better version of it in the actual film. But that's supposed to be a USS Miranda insignia. Mr. Lee Power is playing the captain of USS Miranda. And he came up with his own backstory, his own character name, and everything. And for our series, we're going on the premise that the area around Orion's belt had one habitable planet that Earth colonized around 150 years ago, 125, 150 years ago. And Earth lost contact with that colony. But they established a place called Salisbury, or New Salisbury, or Salisbury Colony. 3 different ways of looking at it. The predominant group of people that landed there speak English, and they were Anglophiles. So a lot of them have British accents, which would come no surprise if you can actually get British actors to participate in your group. So the backstory then evolves that this planet was then connected with Earth when subspace radio buoys were laid between Earth and New Salisbury by none other than Captain April of the Enterprise, which would have been about 10, 20 years earlier, I guess. 20 years before we're doing our show here. And during that time, the people had their own self-defense force, space, army or navy, if you want to call it that. They had ground defense forces that defended against a Klingon invasion at one point, and Orion pirates. Hello, we're in Orion's belt. It's Orion space, and it's near the Klingon neutral zone. So all of that comes into play. They created their own space academy, and it's now accredited as a Starfleet Academy subsidiary. That said, anybody who's a graduate of that academy can get a collateral transfer into Starfleet. So Starfleet gifted the colony with 3 ships, and they're called Task Force 78. And that includes USS Columbia, USS Miranda, and a brand new ship that's never been used before, USS Krytek, NX
Steve,
2022.
go ahead and play the intro we did, 60 seconds long.
I don't have that. I don't know how to do the audio on here. Okay, go ahead.
I'll just pipe it. Give me a second here, and I'll pipe it through. Hold on.
Yeah, we did an intro. We haven't actually done the video part.
Okay.
Well, if I talk and then you play, it's gonna walk over me. Poor Chris. You still planning that commando raid, Chris?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
A lot of logistical issues there.
Okay.
Jumped on my lap here, but yes, I am. I believe we were retooling it, and I was waiting on some certain prop items from you guys. Now we've had some script changes, so I've been waiting on some updates, as it were. But yes.
Yes. In fact, we've got an interesting development. I've got a couple of nice people who do 3D printing helping us with some of the props. And I'll be sending... There's a cat behind you. I'll be sending some Android pendants that glow like Mud's Androids wore over to Chris for our upcoming film In Deep Mud, among some other things. He's had props sent from Dan Zimmerly. He's got some communicators that Dan Zimmerly produced. And Christopher Schindler is providing a lot of other items here and there, including a small-scale model of the Krytek that he sent me almost a year ago. So I appreciate all the help that you guys have given me and the discount prices and sometimes free products that you're sending me just for the credit and on the screen. That's what I'm talking about, volunteer work. You know, these guys are working with us, and in return, we give them a little bit of exposure on YouTube. So what you got there, Jeff?
Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and play it. It's only 60 seconds long. This goes right back to what Steve was saying, except we have it in an official intro audio. We just got to stitch together some video for it, and here we go. 3, 2, 1.
This is Task Force 78. Their mission to explore, patrol, and protect Federation interests along Orion's belt and the Klingon neutral zone. Like other space pioneers, Starfleet's youngest captain, Jason Roth, yearns for adventure. He is sworn to uphold Federation moral principles, protect civilians, and maintain peace. Commanding an experimental super dreadnought, Roth and his crew bravely face unpredictable dangers as they explore the final frontier, pushing the boundaries of possibility. This is Captain Roth.
Yeah. So there we go. You know, short and sweet. Just put a visual on it, and then we got an intro sequence for the Roth series. So Steve obviously did the voiceover.
How could you tell?
Not bad. Yeah. It's good. I like it. I think it turned out pretty good. So.
And it's even better on headphones, believe me. You get the full scope of the audio with a headphone setup. So if you get the opportunity to watch the rerun, zip to this part, listen to that with your headphones on. And I'm telling you, same thing with Captain Roth's final message. Watch it with your headphones on for the cinematic experience. Yeah. It's cinematic music.
It is. It's through and through. I mean, it's orchestral cinematic stuff.
So yeah.
100%.
So, we've been running a while.
I think he was trying to say something a couple times. Mage, what's up? What you got next for us?
I was just going to ask a quick question of Roy about the acting process, but are you trying to wrap, Steve? We are pushing an hour. Are you trying to wrap?
Yeah, we should probably wrap up as soon as we can. Go ahead with your last questions. Tell Josh that we know he's a busy guy. Josh, we know you're a busy guy, but we hope that you will come on board and play Harry Mudd.
I'm gonna hang out with him tomorrow, so
we're gonna have to set up a body double situation in Florida with Chris's group.
Well,
but
he looks like Kratos. Find somebody who looks like Kratos, and we'll be good to go. Dude, he does. If you put the white makeup on and you put the red tattoos on, dude, this guy would be a double to freaking Kratos, man.
That's the guy I was telling you about, though.
Yeah.
I'll have to get a photo. If he's there tomorrow, I will get a photo of this guy and show it to you. He is. Who's the guy I'm thinking of? Kratos, exactly.
Dude, freaking awesome, man. Yeah.
Exactly who it was. I was gonna. Yeah. Okay.
Harry Mudd.
Batista.
Yeah, he was asking what role. I said Harry Mudd.
Batista.
Kind of surprised we don't have more people chatting in the chat room, but I guess we're on at a bad time for Friday night date night.
Well, that's okay because we're getting content out. We're letting people know that things are in motion. Things are moving behind the scenes. We're getting work done on something. It's a little bit slower. It's busy season. Things are moving along a little bit slow. This winter time, tune in because we're gonna have lots of stuff coming out this winter.
Tons of content in the pipe, which is got a lot of moving parts to make a fan film.
There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of time allocating the resources is the challenge. Getting people together and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually coordinating, and I've been connecting remotely with the actors. Chris and I got together a while back, and it was probably two 2-hour sessions that we had, not counting the read through on one script. But we actually got all of his stuff filmed and a good part of my stuff filmed. And then we had a case where somebody had a health issue and they had to drop out of the project. So I had to go do some rewrites, and I'll be filming that rewrite part this week. And that'll mean 2 films will be, 90% complete, at least the acting. And the rest of that takes time in the editing room and the special effects being added and the sound and all of that. So that's what takes time. Once you actually have the action done, everything's in the can, you're filmed your sequences, then the editors and the VFX guys and the music and all of that has to come together, along with people like Roy and Chris, who will go behind the scenes with us and help us review what we're doing, and then bank a better cut. So try to be patient with us. We're doing everything for free. We're not charging you. We're not asking for money. You know, if you want to help, try to contact us,
So,
and we'll work on getting in touch back with you.
yeah, so what Steve's trying to say is the best possible way to support us is to hit that like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, and hit that bell icon. That is the number one way. So that lets us know that we need to keep moving forward.
Right.
So
thank you very much for everybody coming out today.
Yeah,
I apologize that we were up at a late time for Zam. He didn't get a chance to pop in. I also want to mention Mr. Mark Anthony Craig, who did the model work for a lot of stuff you haven't seen behind the scenes yet that's coming up. He did Final Message. It looks like Space 1999 style stuff. And we got some comments about that. Most of them were positive, but that's the idea. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We're in an era where we're embracing the fact that this colony has Space 1999 style technology upgraded to the current Star Trek TOS timeline technology. Okay, so it may look a little antiquated to you at a glance. You may see a domed city or a domed building or whatever, a track vehicle on a planet and out in the middle of the desert, but that's on purpose. And we totally appreciate everything that all of you have done together, Mark, and all of our actors, all of our special effects guys, everybody. Thank you, NerdTube. Thank you to No Budget and Folk Ferret for all of your help, all of your encouragement, and we hope to see you in the funny papers.
Sure will.
Live long and prosper.
That's
Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all in the next one. Again, thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit that bell. And until next time.
See ya.
Make sure you comment too. Let us know you're out there.
Please let us know what it is you want to see.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. Good night, everybody.